It can happen that fast. Police officers often have to make life or death decisions in less than a second. For families living here in the valley, this fence isn't just a border to the United States, but it's also a barrier now to the life they left behind. Well, Justin, everyone here today is super excited for the new Walmart here in Provo. Even Mr. Oreo back here is ecstatic. He's loving it. He's getting in touch with everyone. That's right, Ken. Jason Chaffetz going back to Congress for a 4th term, according to our KBYU Utah College's exit poll. Here's a toy pellet gun that police say Cody Evans pointed at them. Now here's a picture of an actual AR-15 assault rifle, almost identical. I'm here in front of the house where profanity was spray painted across this fence and onto their home.
Say hindsight is 20/20 and police shootings are no different. But when someone threatens your life in the blink of an eye, would you know whether or not to shoot? 11 News reporter Ewmock got to experience this firsthand and takes us into the life of a police officer.
Here, James Barker attacks an officer with a shovel before the officer fatally shoots him. The group Utah Against Police Brutality say too many shootings like this happen, and they accuse the police of murder.
We can't take it anymore. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
The group claims that the police use over-aggressive strategies even when suspects don't originally pose a threat.
The people were unarmed, the people were fleeing the scene, and yet these cops were simply allowed to gun people down. So, this sort of storm the palace approach that they're taking doesn't seem to be an effective method of policing.
But Todd Groskebauer of the Utah Valley University Police Academy says that people just don't understand how quickly a situation can go from calm to deadly. It can happen that fast. Police officers often have to make life or death decisions in less than a second. Groskebauer teaches his cadets the goal of force is never to hurt or kill a suspect, but to do whatever it takes to keep that person from hurting other people.
If I fired one round and it didn't stop, guess what? I would probably fire another round. And if that didn't stop, I'd probably fire another round. And so sometimes people will ask that question, well, why did you fire that number of rounds? Because that was the number that was required to stop the deadly behavior.
The UVU Police Academy puts the cadets through scenarios to get them ready for high-pressure situations. To get an understanding of just how fast a shooting can happen, I went through one of the scenarios myself, not knowing what to expect. The guy seemed cool at first, but when I went to cuff him, and I was forced to shoot him, I was shocked at how fast he went from a calm stranger to slashing at me with a knife.
And in a high-stress critical incident, those things happen in tens of hundreds of seconds.
He also says that police officers can face similar situations multiple times a day. Chris Hendrickson teaches the cadets how to properly use their weapon once they have pulled it.
Stop, police!
But he says it's just as important to teach them how to deal with the effects of shooting someone than how to shoot. He has officers who have been involved in shootings come in and talk to the cadets.
Let them know of the feelings they felt and, the remorse and the struggles they have after being involved in a shooting. Even though they know that shooting was justified, it's still hard on a man or a woman's psyche to take another human life.
The aftermath of a fatal police shooting can affect the officer and the victim's family for a long time. So Groskebauer and Hendrickson say pulling a gun is the last thing any cop wants to do. But they are sworn to protect the innocent and will do whatever is necessary.
Manor and Groskebauer both agree there is no general rule to judge whether all police shootings are justified or not, and say that each case has to be looked at separately.
Especially here in Utah County. 11 News reporter Ewmock has been following this story closely. Eric, can you tell us why is this such a hot topic?
Morgan, the haze you can see behind me is exactly why the governor and the Department of Air Quality have proposed this ban in the first place. And it's especially bad in these winter months. Now, people from all over Utah County are flocking to the public hearing to make their voice heard and let the Department of Air Quality know they are not happy about this.
I hope that you fail in your endeavors.
It was standing room only at this public feedback meeting on the proposal to ban all wood burning from November to March. Many there spoke out boldly against the ban, some calling it discrimination, saying they felt like their rights were being taken away.
What this is doing, what this ban is proposing, is taking food and warmth away from my children. This isn't about health. This is about freedom.
Other burn ban opponents say they simply can't afford to heat their home any other way.
I'm on fixed income. Financially, it's very difficult for me to go for a month without using my fireplace.
Many people had already spent thousands of dollars on new wood-burning stoves that the Environmental Protection Agency certifies as clean.
I have a total of $8,000 tied up into those stoves and probably another couple for installation. If I can't use those, who's going to pay the cost?
But not everyone was against the ban. The few who spoke in support of it mainly cited health concerns.
But as an asthmatic, I would urge people to be sensitive to their neighbors, to people who have respiratory problems.
Some offered solutions of their own.
On those bad air days, could we reduce public transportation charges so people would be more inclined to use the public transportation?
Some more extreme than others.
Ban automobiles from November to March.
One thing everyone could agree on is that they are not people who don't care about the environment, just concerned citizens. Now, not only were people who want to heat their homes with wood upset, but I met one man who stands to lose a lot more than most people if this ban passes. Ron Dean of American Fork cuts and sells firewood to earn money to feed his family. He says in the lot you see here, he has tens of thousands of dollars worth of firewood, his own natural savings account. The mild winter itself has made business slow for him. But Dean says if this ban passes, he doesn't know how he would go on.
I've got my whole life laying here, and pretty much everything that I own in this world is responsible citizens, and I think together we can come up with the correct answers. I just want to be treated fairly.
Now, Ron isn't asking for much. He also cares about air quality and just wants the Department of Air Quality to take into consideration the effect this would have on him and others who depend upon wood for their livelihood. Now, it looks like the Department of Air Quality is taking their concerns seriously. We actually just got an update that the DEQ is going to modify the proposed ban. Now, we have no idea yet what the modifications are going to be. All we know is that right now they are going to modify it, and we will bring you updates as they appear to us. Live in Provo, Eric Mock, 11 News.
And Eric, what about the people who only use the wood to heat their homes in the winter, not in the summer?
Morgan, in part 3 of my series, I'm going to take you to an entire community who completely depends on wood to heat their homes. And they say if this ban passes, they have no idea how to keep warm in the winter.
Great, we'll look forward to that. Thanks, Eric.
At least one small Utah town is grateful that the Department of Environmental Quality is putting their burn ban on hold. Our reporter Eric Mock joins us here live on the set with part 3 of his series on the wood burning ban proposal. Eric, the state backing down has to be a relief for some here in Utah County.
Oh, absolutely, especially for the little town of Goshen, which is just a few miles away from Santa Quinn. And it's a kind of a remote area compared to most towns. But for lots of people there, the proposal threatened to remove the only way they had to heat their home in Utah's brutal winters. Main Street, Goshen, Utah. Don't blink or you might drive right through. No restaurants, no cell phone service, and no natural gas to heat people's homes.
We've tried to get natural gas in Goshen. I was on a committee, and the end result was $14 million in cost. We're a small community of less than 100 houses, and we can't afford it.
Jenny and Stephen Staley have lived together in Goshen for almost 20 years. They live in this house with their 4 kids. They say they could use propane if they had to, but the price alone would severely lower their standard of living.
The cost of propane is prohibitive. It absolutely is, and we estimated it would triple our costs.
James Reynolds is a neighbor down the street. He also says he can't afford to keep his family of 8 warm any other way. And for anyone who thinks wood burning is just a fun pastime,
and it is not fun getting wood. I'll tell you what, when you're hauling ashes, you're hauling wood, you're splitting wood, you're cutting wood, it takes up all your Saturdays. You can see I've got 2 shirts on, but just tell the kids, throw another shirt on. You know, this isn't for pleasure, this is out of necessity.
One thing is clear, the people of Goshen burn because they have to, not because they want to. But that doesn't mean they aren't doing their part for the environment. Randall, Stephen and Jenny, and James have each spent thousands of dollars to get EPA certified stoves, which can reduce emissions from wood smoke by up to 90%.
We're not just out in the sticks people that don't care at all. We do care.
Ironically, Goshen lies in the very southern tip of Utah County, and the ban proposal doesn't cover neighboring Juab County.
I can go 2 miles south of my residence, and I can burn all the wood I want.
Now, the Department of Environmental Quality confirms they will be changing the proposed seasonal wood burn ban, but still no word on what exactly the changes will be or how it will affect Goshen.
Eric, are there any other reasons why the people of Goshen think they should be exempt?
Well, Randall was telling me there's actually a mountain in between Goshen and the nearest air quality monitor in Provo. So he says that the big city air quality monitorings are probably not going to apply to their little town.
Great series. Thanks, Eric.